there's no better place for rivals probably, and maybe the worst place for me to start, and that is with Manchester United. I honestly feel, as per the title of the show, I really do feel like the sacking of Ten Hag is becoming ever closer. I feel as though we will lose this weekend against Burnley, and we'll probably get onto that a bit later. The dressing room turning on the manager, which is exactly as I predicted. To give this some context for you, some of the claims today that have come out are that a number of Man United players are starting to grow weary. It's a strange word, weary of Ten Hag's criticism. The dressing room sources have said that players believe Ten Hag has favourites in the squad who is unprepared to single out for criticism, whilst others feel, while they feel others are routinely rounded on. I don't know what that means, rounded on, but that obviously means having a go at them by him. They also went on to say in the same report that some of the Man United players feel they have been put into a invidious position to carry out Ten Hag's tactical instructions, as there is a feeling in the squad that his approach has been compromised by the indefinite absence of Anthony. Mason Mount could now occupy that role. So these players are furious. These players are angry. These are the dressing room links. What is really interesting, Hassam, is only 4 days ago, I quote tweeted these two tweets on the 18th of September, as you can all see on the screen, that were talking about the signing of Amrabat. Internally, there was problems with it. There's a focus on the transfer activity and the fact that his agency's involved has wound people up. And I quote tweeted it 4 days ago and said, the media briefs are preparing for Ten Hag sacking. Leaked concerns regarding player treatment and training methods will start soon if Man United don't win. Bookmark this. 4 days later, those exact same stories that I thought would happen are coming out. Now, I am not claiming to be Nostradamus. I cannot tell the future per se, but I know the cycles at Manchester United. I know when the club starts briefing and allowing leaks, it is to set up the scapegoat, which is consistently the manager. Doesn't mean the manager can't be criticized for mistakes. But again, Man United fans are cuckolding to the Glazers. In my opinion, they're cuckolding the Glazers, and they are getting behind this notion that everything wrong right now is on Ten Hag. And if we sack him, we will naturally improve. All the players deserve another clean slate, another fresh chance to push on ahead. And for me personally, I am absolutely sick to my stomach of player power, poor management from the board, and this ridiculous notion from fans that sacking managers will fix Manchester United Football Club. Sorry to start this all off on a rant, but I had to give it context. What do you make of these further leaks and media pressures being placed upon Ten Hag and Man United?
I mean, I saw your tweets from 4 or 5 days ago, and I was like, you know what, he's right. This is becoming inevitable at this point. I don't even think it's Man United fans who could just guess this now. Even we can guess this as rivals because it's the same stuff that come out. It happened with Moyes, it happened with Van Gaal, it happens with all of these guys. It's just kind of the same cycles. Oli, Ranić, Mourinho, the same stuff. You know, we saw with you know, the whole Pogba situation with Mourinho, how kind of it was like a whole media warfare thing going on. So I kind of think it was inevitable that this happens. I'm gonna be honest with you. First of all, the whole favoritism thing, every manager has favoritism. This is the ultimate statement that no one wants to acknowledge. I bet you right now that Klopp don't give Salah, Alisson, and Van Dijk and Trent the same treatment he gives the rest of them. And that's normal. That's just how life works. You know, Terry, for example, has about 50,000 people who come on the terrace, you know, all the time. It's impossible to treat every single person the exact same. If some people, you know, for example, from a football player's perspective, with Marcus Rashford, because he was the guy mentioned, out of the 6 goals scored this season, he's involved in 4 of them. So when you look at it from that perspective, before the Bayern game, sorry, I'm just talking Prem only. So out of the 6 goals scored in the Prem, he was involved in 4 of them. So I wouldn't expect Rashford to get equal treatment to the rest anyway, because he's clearly, as Terry stated, which I agree with, the only source of goals. Like it's just the unfortunate reality. They're two. Man United are fortunate for us, unfortunate for them. That is, they rely on Marcus Rashford for goals. I think sacking Ten Hag would be a mistake, but I think it's inevitable at this point. I think the best thing to do would be getting a sporting director to work with Ten Hag, because you could fine tune transfers and make that that thing better. But the one thing I will say, and this is where I've actually been maybe even Terry surprised how objective I've been with this whole Ten Hag thing. But my biggest problem with Ten Hag is a philosophical problem. My biggest issue with Ten Hag is he hasn't stuck to a philosophy. Now, I've got no problem with Ten Hag if he wants to park the bus at the Allianz or at Anfield or at the Etihad. You don't play the same exact thing everywhere you go, unless you're a Man City or you're a Liverpool when we were really strong, or you're a Barcelona 2009 type thing. So unless you're an unbelievable team, that's when you play the same everywhere. But the reality is, for me, with Ten Hag, he's chopping and changing too much, and that's a constructive of his. I think even with the diamond against Brighton, we haven't seen that, and he decides to do that for the first time. He decides to do that against Brighton. My problem is football philosophy with Eric Ten Hag. You need to choose a way you want to play the sport. You need to choose a way you want to put out these 11 players on the pitch and play set way. And I reiterate, I'm not telling you play it at Anfield, play it at the Etihad, but 95% of the time you're playing clubs at United that you're expected to beat. I'm talking about Brentford at home, Palace at home. Those games are the games where you have to play the same exact style. And that's the thing. I think he's chopping and changing too much.
So to interject, I agree. That element, I think, is fair criticism. But Man United fans have got into this cycle of once you start criticizing a manager, you might as well want him sacked, as opposed to giving him time to change. What we haven't seen yet this season, we've seen Rasmus Højlund on the pitch for I think a total of two games he started now. We've seen like 150 odd minutes from him, scored a goal, very unlucky not to score in his first start in the Premier League. We've not seen Amrabat kick a ball, and Mason Mount in the first game was awful. Second game, not so great either. But we have not seen all three of the new outfield players together. And we have not seen yet the majority of the signings from this year and last year all play together. And I still think there's elements here that, again, rivals.
And you do have an easy run coming up, by the way.
We do have an easy run coming up. And then I look at things like, I know rivals will say copium, but this is the problem with a lot of Man United fans. They have zero backbone. That's why I call them cuckolds. They would rather cuckold to the Glazers and turn on the manager, or they'd rather cuckold to rival fans and go, do you know what? I'm going to show a little backbone. I'm going to show some thick skin. I'm going to show some strength here and criticize things that are wrong, but still back it to get better. Some people this time last year, this time 6 months ago, were talking about Ten Hag like the next coming of Pep. They were. Go back and look at their tweets. Now they're saying he catfished us, he frauded us, he lied to us, he cheated us. No, he's going through a rough time. What isn't making it easier is you as quote unquote supporters becoming cuckolds to rivals and making mountains out of molehills. I want to go to some of these leaks that have come out. First of all, Daps here says City players get Bernardo Silva to ask Pep Guardiola for days off because he's Pep's favorite. Again, do you know what's funny? When a manager has favorites in a team that's winning, nobody cares. Nobody even cares too much when your team's losing. We only care when his favorites are players we don't like, and our favorite players are maybe not so much in favor. It becomes like a bunch of kids at school. But do you know what really made me laugh about this? This was the report here. Some players feel they have been put into an invidious position to carry out Ten Hag's instructions. I never heard of that word before. I've never heard that word used. Now, I'm not that smart, so I thought, right, I'll Google it. It means likely to arouse or incur resentment or anger in others. So you start reading it, and then you. So I'm sitting and thinking, hang on. So the players are angry that they're being asked to do what the manager's telling them. Well, we're not. Listen, Antony as an attacking threat has been poor. However, that isn't the only role that he plays in the team. He's very important to our shape. He's very important to covering in midfield and defensive positions to stop there being holes. Like, deep this for a minute, the cuckold Man United fans out there. You are siding with players that are saying, I don't want to have to work as hard as Antony does. Oh, Antony does it fine. He loves doing it, but I don't want to. And now you're asking me to, I'm going to get angry. Think about that in any other walk of life. Let's say you're a bartender and the bar manager says, I need you to go and serve customers. It's busy. Yeah, but Johnny normally works when it's on Fridays when it's busy. Yes, but he's sick today, so you're covering him. But I don't want to work hard, so I'm not going to bother. If you did that in any other walk of life, you'd be sacked. the members of the public, the people, the customers would say, you're a disgrace, get out of here, employ someone who works harder. Man United fans, these cuckolds are siding with the players. And I've actually heard people say, yeah, but why would you want to have to do what Anthony does? Anthony's rubbish. Anthony has been rubbish going forward. That doesn't mean a player that comes in can say, well, I'm not going to work as hard as Anthony just because he didn't deliver in the attacking element. This is child logic. This is child logic. Do you know what I'm saying? It makes absolutely no sense. I've actually worked with people like this. You'll say, look, I need to have a chat with you. You're late for work today. Yeah, but Jason was late last week. Yes. And I spoke to him. But you're late today, so we're going to have a conversation. Babies. And I genuinely believe anyone backing this, they're backing it because they're a failure in their own life. And they have been called out in the past for having a lack of work ethic, a lack of passion, a lack of desire, and they hate being told what to do. These are probably, you've all worked with them, or they're in your classes at school, or they're in your workplace, or they're in a group at university where they're there. They want to put no effort in, and their failures always get blamed on other people. And they're the kind of cuckolds that are supporting this. Now, I'm not saying there can't be criticisms of this manager, but the players are weary of his criticism. Yeah, you're not delivering. The players don't want to run and work hard. What is it? How are we as a fan base for a single second backing this? And it isn't about Ten Hag. It's not about him. Think of the message we are sending again, just like under Jose, just like under Oli. And I literally see Man United fans go, yeah, but Ten Hag's crap, so I wouldn't want to listen to him either. Think of the message you're sending. It's okay to down tools as long as the fans don't like the manager, or as long as a group of people don't like the manager. What happens next time, Brains of Britain, when it's a manager you rate and another group of fans don't like him and they encourage a different set of players to down tools that are not getting their own way? Everyone goes on about the same fans doing this are the same moronic cuckolds online that only ever talk about standards. But yet they're willing for the standards to be eroded when it suits their agenda. These people do not love Manchester United and they do not want the best for the football club. And again, anyone who says, stop defending Ten Hag, it's not about Ten Hag per se. It's about the position of which he holds. And if we continually erode its power and pull the rug from under a manager's feet, we will never, ever get better. Been saying this for the last 3 to 4 managerial sackings. Everybody every time says, no, you're wrong, Terry. And we always end up back here. It's an absolute disgrace. Backing the players in this circumstance is horrendous. The manager is allowed to make mistakes. The manager is allowed to criticize players. And for God's sake, imagine being put into an invidious position because the manager says, work hard. Imagine that. Imagine it. But this is where we are in 2023. People literally are victims because they have a job that's well paid and they're told to work hard. Oh, I'm a victim. The world's gone mad. The world has gone crazy. It has been flipped upon its head. And they talk about standards. These people have no standards. These people have no standards at all. They think the world owes them a goddamn living. They think life's easy. And they moan about not being successful because they don't have the work ethic to get up every day and break their back for what they want to be. And I'm just gutted that this section of people are so influential and loud around my football club. These goddamn Glazer cuckolds, do one. Get the hell out of here. You are as bad for the club as the Glazers. Sitting there watching, stroking their hair as they fuck your football club. Mugs. All of them.